So about One Piece theories. One Piece theories are a major part of the fan base. That's one of the main charms about the series. How people can come together and theorize about pretty much anything in the series. One Piece could define as a mystery series if you look at it from another perspective. I mean, it's always going to mainly be a fighting battle shonen, but the mysterious aspect of it is also very important. We get hints and teases about everything that takes years to actually unveil, which is what leads to so many people trying to make theories about different topics in the show. There's nothing more satisfying than having your theory turn out to be correct, especially if it's one of those ones that will take a while to be revealed. It's like a primal instinct for One Piece fans to make theories about the show. Since the story has been going on for about 25 years, there's lots of content to make theories out of. You can draw connections all the way back to events that happened in the early stages of the show that could still end up being relevant today. I myself have made lots of attempts at different kinds of theories. Lots of the videos on my channel are just different theories I came up with. Probably the majority of videos I have made. A lot of them are those long-term type of theories though, so they haven't been confirmed yet to be true or not. I think some of them have a pretty good chance of being true though. But yeah, that's one of the main appeals of the story, for most One Piece fans anyway. You try to uncover the truth about the world, alongside the Straw Hats with whatever subtle hints or teases are spread throughout the story. But I started to realize pretty recently that people really take their liberties with their theories, which I mean they take the idea of making theories and go on a full-on sprint with them. And I mean that's part of the fun, I guess you could say, about making theories. Since at the end of the day, people can interpret different things about different events in the story, but I've seen some theories that are really just out there. I think it's fine when people are just trying to see what connections they can make with what happened earlier on in the story to the present, which in itself can lead to some far-fetched stretches. I don't want to discredit Oda or anything. One Piece is a very impressive series, but a lot of people paint this image that Oda really had everything planned out for this series. From day one, there's the idea of Oda foreshadowing Haki since pretty much the beginning, with Shanks using what we presume is Conqueror's Haki, as well as Enel using observation. There's a bunch of hints of Haki being intended as a power system for the story in the early stages of the show, so I think that's pretty fair to say that Oda planned Haki, at least to some level, for later on in the series. But then there are some that people claim as foreshadows, but they probably weren't, and I mean there's no real way to prove that besides asking Oda himself. But for some cases, I think it's the reverse of foreshadowing, if there even is a terminology for that, where it's Oda connecting the current events to the past, rather than it being foreshadowing, or planned from the start. We can use the Haki example again to show what I'm talking about. One way you can see Haki is that it was legitimate foreshadowing, meaning Oda planned mostly everything about it from the very start of the show, or you can see it as Oda slowly building on the idea of it, with it eventually turning into the Haki we know today. I think it's a mix of both, to be honest. Oda probably had a power system in mind, but it was slowly fleshed out throughout the early stages of the story. He didn't have everything planned out ever since that Shanks incident with the Sea Beast. You can tell by the fact that Oda himself had not planned for a lot of how One Piece ended out. At the start, Oda only planned for One Piece to last a couple of years, but as he continued writing and expanding the series, he felt he could expand and flesh out different aspects of it, leading to the story to continue growing longer and longer. He was literally building out the story as he was creating it. Some authors like to plan out their story before they even start it. They thoroughly plan how they want to have it play out, and what direction they want the story to head in. A series that ended up going through this route was Attack on Titan. From the start, Isayama knew where the story would be headed, and what direction he wanted to take it, but before even publishing it, he planned out the whole thing, which probably took him months, or even years to think the whole thing through. I think Oda is the opposite of this type of writing style. Oda had a general idea of what he wanted his story to be, and in real time, he fleshed out the story more and more, as he played and experimented with different ideas. It will be pretty hard to believe Oda really planned out the entire story to even a somewhat accurate degree, when it's 25 plus years long. For Attack on Titan, I can imagine it taking a really long time to plan out the whole story, and Attack on Titan is only like 1/10 the length of One Piece, so it will be a stretch to say that he really did plan everything from the very beginning. It's not that Oda's a sloppy writer or anything, he's just a more in the moment type of writer. It's not really the same as writing manga, but I write the same way when I have to write essays and stuff for school. I think of a general idea of whatever the essay is going to be about, and then I flesh it out as I go along, trying to refine it and make it better, which is why I feel I can understand the approach Oda took with One Piece. Oda just did it on a much larger scale. I don't think less of Oda for not having planned out every detail that ties back to the current plotline, but I think people really blow it out of proportion on how much Oda really did plan for the story at the start. Oda's human too. I don't think he really could have outlined even a general idea of how he wanted his story to head in the next 25 years. But yeah, that is pretty much all I had to say. If you enjoyed, like and subscribe for future content. Peace.